ever get that feeling,
Yeah,
that sense of being completely alone, even when you're surrounded by other people.
totally.
It's like this weird disconnect. And it's something I think everyone has felt at some point.
Oh, absolutely. It's universal, isn't it? That feeling of isolation.
It really is. And you know what? Sometimes a song just nails that emotion perfectly.
Absolutely. And that's actually what we're diving into today. The story behind The Cure is, well, it's kind of a haunting masterpiece, Alone.
Now, for anyone out there who maybe isn't familiar with them, The Cure is a British rock band known for their sound is amazing, those dark, introspective lyrics, and that atmospheric sound.
Right. They were kind of pioneers of that whole moody, goth-tinged rock.
Exactly. And Alone, released back in 1989, is considered one of their most powerful, if not the most powerful, track.
Yeah, it's definitely up there.
And get this. We've got this fresh article from TATANKA, published just today, October 5th, 2024, that digs into the inspiration behind the song and its lasting impact. Talk about a timely find.
It's really interesting, isn't it, how a song can like resonate across decades. It's amazing.
Yeah.
And the article, it points out how back in '89, Alone was actually the lead single off The Cure's album, Disintegration.
Wow.
Talk about a powerful one-two punch.
Right. I mean, even just those two titles together, Alone and Disintegration,
Yeah.
it's like they hint at all these themes we're going to,
Uh,
unpack.
Exactly. And the article, it digs into this 2019 Rolling Stone interview where Robert Smith, the frontman for The Cure, reveals that, well, the song actually came from a pretty dark period in his own life.
Yeah.
And music became his refuge, his way of just processing those, raw, complicated emotions that everyone feels sometimes.
It's so relatable, though. I mean, so many people use music as that kind of emotional outlet,
Hmm.
that safe space to explore feelings you might not even, I don't know, be able to even articulate otherwise.
It's true.
I know I've definitely had my moments seeking solace in certain songs, but with Alone, it's not just the lyrics that pack a punch. The music video, it takes it to another level.
Absolutely. The article talks about how the video is directed by Tim Pope, who did a lot of work with The Cure.
Oh, yeah.
And he masterfully creates this visual representation of those feelings of isolation.
Hmm.
You see Robert Smith wandering through this desolate landscape, and I don't know, it's stark, it's haunting,
Yeah.
and it's incredibly effective at amplifying the song's message.
Yeah, speaking of Tim Pope, his work with The Cure is legendary. Those visuals, they always seem to perfectly capture the mood, often with this kind of, I don't know, surreal, almost dreamlike quality to them.
It's like he doesn't just direct music videos, He creates visual poems.
I like that.
And in the case of Alone, that desolate landscape, it really becomes a character in itself.
Totally.
He often uses these long, drawn-out shots, and it's like he's really, letting that emptiness just sink in.
Right.
It adds, I don't know, it adds a whole other layer of meaning to the song, don't you think?
Totally. It's like you're not just hearing the isolation, you're practically feeling it settle around you. And the article, it makes this really interesting point about how this all ties into the idea of catharsis through art. It's like by pouring all this vulnerability into Alone, Robert Smith, he tapped into something so universal, something that resonated with countless listeners.
It's that shared vulnerability, right? It
Yes.
forges this connection
Mm-hmm.
that goes beyond words. You hear someone expressing something you felt maybe couldn't even put into words yourself, and suddenly you don't feel so alone.
That's so true.
It's the power of art, I think, to build bridges where you least expect them.
That's so true. Have you ever had that experience where a song just, I don't know, puts words to feelings you didn't even know you had?
All the time.
It's like you hear it and you think, yeah, that's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, I got
And
it.
it's not just like a one-off in Smith's work either alone. It's like it's part of this larger conversation he's having about isolation.
Absolutely.
And the Disintegration album, where Alone is, it's like a perfect example of this,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Even just the title, Disintegration, it speaks volumes.
Right. It sets the tone for the whole album.
Exactly. And then when you actually listen to the title track, Disintegration, you hear all these echoes of Alone in it.
Uh-huh.
But instead of just, I don't know, just personal isolation, it expands outward. It's like he's painting this picture
Mm-hmm.
of a world on the brink of collapse,
Wow.
both internally and externally.
It's interesting you say that because I was thinking about the musicality of it too, not just the lyrics, but musically. He uses these recurring motifs. You hear it in the descending guitar lines, the way the synthesizers, they create this sense of vast, echoing space.
Right.
Wow, I never quite put that together, but you're right. It's like a sonic representation of that disintegration. It's like he can take these I don't know, these huge abstract concepts like disintegration and somehow make them feel intensely personal.
Yeah,
And it's interesting, the article mentions how alone, like even decades later, it keeps popping up in pop culture.
it's true.
It's like its relevance never really fades.
It speaks to the universality of its themes, wouldn't you
Oh,
say?
totally.
Isolation, longing, the search for connection. Those are timeless human experiences.
Absolutely. And it's not just that the song has endured, which is amazing in itself, but it's found all this new life through these different covers.
Yeah.
Like the article lists a few: Depeche Mode, the Smashing Pumpkins, even Gary Newman.
Wow.
It's such an eclectic mix. Who would have thought?
And that's the power of a song like Alone, right?
Yeah.
It transcends genres. You have these artists from such different backgrounds,
Mhm.
all drawn to this one song
Right.
about the search for connection amidst the ruins.
It's like a reminder that no matter what kind of music you're into, we're all tapping into those same, core human experiences. We might be listening in different times and different places, but those emotions, they still resonate.
They do.
Yeah.
And that's why I think Alone, even though it's Robert Smith's story, in many ways, it becomes our story too.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I do.
It's like a mirror reflecting those parts of ourselves that we might not always want to face.
Mhm.
But ultimately recognizing them, that's what allows us to connect with others who understand.
You've articulated that beautifully.
Right.
It's like that feeling of finding your tribe, even if they're scattered across time and space, all united by this shared love for this song, a song that captures that, I don't know, that bittersweet ache of being human.
It really does.
And, that brings us to a thought for you to ponder, as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into Alone. What songs have provided you with that same sense of catharsis or connection? What lyrics or melodies have been your companions in those moments of feeling alone? Let us know. We might even feature your picks in a future episode. Until then, keep exploring those sonic landscapes, and remember, you're never truly alone in this vast world of music.